But then now I would ask auditor, what type of engagement did you have with the executive? Because they required documents. You review the documents before our meeting today. If you had actually engaged, you must have asked for the payment plan. Now the governor is saying, we don't know if we are required to give the documents to the auditor. If we invited and engaged the governor, why is the governor saying that they have not given the documents to you, Senator Sifuna?
But Chair, I'm wondering, does this committee have the power to close audit queries? The person who raised the audit query is the Auditor General, so that when you are supplying documents in response to even the conversations here in the Senate, if you send it to the Auditor General, to the control of budget, for instance, make sure that you send it to the Auditor General as well, so that when we sit here, the Auditor General is the one we pose those questions to. We are like, have you seen it? So it is supposed to be straightforward, Governor, that the person who, the originator of the query, must be the one you satisfy. The rest of us are just downstream. Once they tell us that they are happy, the query is closed. Secondly, there is ongoing audits. I was doing my exit meetings last week before I went to the Jamboree in Mombasa with the Auditor General for the ODM party. If there are prior year matters that are raised during that particular conversation for this current financial year, they are the ones to satisfy. They're the ones to address those responses to, Governor. So really, if you send it to the control of budget, yet the originator of the question has not had sight of it, it will keep recurring.
I think then there's a miscommunication. We are responding here to a Senate follow-up matrix on the ACT decisions made at Senate.
Yes.
We are not responding to the auditor because this question came from Senate. So what we did, we prepared for Senate.
I think the confusion is on your end.
Just let the governor.
The other times when we are going through normal audit, the auditors come to the county and audit, and we do management responses to the auditor. But this letter did not come from the auditor. I think the confusion comes from them because it's the first time we're doing follow-up of our a Senate hearing.
It's the first time. Yeah.
It's the first time. So we didn't know that we're supposed to do whatever the Senate provides us. We're supposed to go back to the auditor and then come back to the Senate. We assumed we prepare for Senate and come to the Senate. So that is where the miscommunication is, because then there should have, it should have been a bit clear that we clear with the Auditor General and then come back. We thought we were coming to report to the Senate.
Senator Sifuna, then Senator Wambua.
Chair, there's only one way, Governor, an audit query is closed, and that is by the Auditor General, the originator of the query. We are not originators of the queries. In fact, the ones we make here are recommendations, you know? So if you have not provided documents, because they are the ones to do the verification. For instance, if you are required to present payment vouchers to support a certain expenditure, if you bring those documents to me, there is nothing I'm going to do with those documents because I don't have the capacity to do the verification. So those documents should go to the Auditor General, and then you say, when they are here, that is why sometimes, Chair, we have adjourned meetings of this committee where responses have been sent to us and not to the Auditor General, because they are the originators of the query. So it is not too difficult for me, the way that I see it. You, for instance, a recommendation has been made that you do a payment plan. It is a recommendation that has come from the Senate. You send that payment plan to the OAG. That is, you'll demonstrate you have complied. In fact, all you need to do to the Senate is to send not the payment plan itself, but a confirmation, like a letter, cover letter to the control of budget saying, fine here with the payment plan as directed by the Senate. For us, that will be enough. Then we'll ask the control of budget, have you seen this? They say yes. Same to the Auditor General. Say some vouchers were not presented. We have now had sight of those vouchers and we have reconciled the amounts, because we will never do reconciliation in this committee. That is a fact. So those documents have to go to the originator of the query.
Senator Wambua.
Chair, just the same issue. The governor is busy with the CEC. They are consulting on something. Okay, Governor, now lend me your ears. Now, Chair, two things. One, the governor has admitted that they have not submitted documentation to OAG in relation to the recommendations by the Senate. And for me, that perhaps is where this engagement ends, because you see, our recommendations are based on the queries. And the office that has raised the queries is the OAG. It is for them to make the final determination whether that query has been dealt with sufficiently. In the absence of that, then what we are doing here, we will be attempting to carry out an audit here. It's not possible. It's not practical. If the OAG has not seen the responses, then I'm actually wondering, what are we engaging on? Because when you ask the OAG whether they have received payment vouchers or supporting documents, and those documents are not available, what are they going to be responding to?
Chair,
Yes,
Chair, may
Governor.
I say something? If maybe I would give an example, like for the areas, let's say, for example, documents were submitted late. The documents were submitted to the Auditor General, and that query was actually accepted as closed. Only the Senate made a recommendation that the officers who submitted the documents late, that should be action taken. Yeah?
No,
No.
that is not the position.
No, that is the position of the previous.
No, the position is, we'll look at the queries, you'll answer to them what you write to you, isn't it? And then we'll do a report so that we go and implement. Now we are looking at the status of the implementation of the recommendations. If you have implemented the recommendation, it is us to close those queries. How do you close them? We close them by satisfying the auditors that you've answered the queries properly in this meeting. Then now we say this one is addressed. It cannot be addressed merely by saying, go and undertake administrative action. You can't close it at your point. You have to give the documents. The auditor must have adequate time to look at the documents that we recommended you give them. Then we do an engagement and we satisfy ourselves that it is true, you have implemented the recommendations, and so that audit query is closed. We'll close it here.
Chair, I think there is a small miscommunication between me and you on this matter. Let me give an example of the previous issue on taking administrative action, where the recommendation by the Senate is to take administrative action. Because by the time we came, we had already submitted the documents to the auditor and the auditor had accepted the issue is cleared. However, Senate felt that because some of those documents were provided late and arose as an audit query, even if the auditor agreed with us, administrative action should be taken on the officer. So the response to this committee now, the follow-up action, is on the administrative action, not on the submission of the documents. I don't know whether I'm overcomplicating, but that issue had actually been closed during the audit.
Murik, you want to say something?
Chairman, I wanted to say that even where documents have not been submitted to the auditor late, sometimes they are brought to the office of the Auditor General. The auditor will not have time to conduct additional tests because they're already back in the office, they're not in the field. So submitting late the documents is not going to help. Thank you, Chairman. That's not resolve the issue.
So then that means that we are not able to close these issues from your answer or from your observation.
I wanted to say that even if you bring a document late to the auditor will not have time to conduct additional tests. And that's the reason why he wasn't asking for the documents in the first place. And that's why the committee now was recommending that administrative action be taken on the officer who failed to provide the documents in time, therefore denying the auditor an opportunity to conduct tests.
So according to the governor, when you do undertake the administrative action, according to her, that issue is closed.
Chairman, it will not be closed.
To not be closed, yeah.
Chair, I
Governance.
think let's, for clarity, let me
Yes.
ask, right? When the recommendation that is being requested, right, is because the issue was resolved during the hearing of Senate, but the Senate said the office of the county governor undertakes administrative action against the responsible officer who failed to provide the documents to the auditors at the time of the audit in accordance with this act, etc. That is the recommendation we've been given. The recommendation here is not on documents because the issue of documents was closed during the hearing. That's why I'm saying we're going back to reopen an audit hearing that has already happened. The only issue, despite that issue having been closed, Senate felt that we should take action on the officer who submitted documents late, who caused there to be a query when there shouldn't have been a query in the first place.
Yes.
You okay? So the recommendation here is